Okay guys, we're going to be going over the Extreme Lighting Kit, also known as ELK, or the color changing system with remote control. In order to ensure that the system works properly, it is important that you follow these directions precisely. Mount the product on your vehicle according to the instructions provided in the box. Find a place inside the vehicle, preferably behind a trim panel or a carpeted area, that you can place the silver box so that it's out of the way. The only thing important is that you place it in a position to where the wire coming off of the product will still reach it. It's not important that you be able to see it, because the remote will be able to reach the unit even if it's in your trunk area. Okay, in order to attach the wires to the radio frequency box shown here, you're going to need a small flathead screwdriver. Turning these screws to the left will open these slots so that you can stick the wire inside. Be sure to strip enough off of the end of the wire so that you can make a good connection inside the terminal. But be careful not to leave any of the frayed wires exposed so that they might touch the neighboring wire, as this may cause a malfunction. Before you begin, make sure this green strip here is pressed tightly inside the silver box. Okay, there's two sections to this green strip. First is the light strip side. This is where we're going to plug the wires coming off of the light strip. Then there's the power side, which is where we're going to insert the power and the ground wire. Okay, now let's take our light strip and do exactly what we're showing you here. Put the blue wire into the B for blue slot, the green wire into the G for green slot, the red wire into the R for red slot, and the black wire into the V as in Victor, that's V plus slot. So at this point, all four wires from the LED light strip will be placed into the four slots on the left side. Blue into B, green into G, red into R, and black into V plus. These wires can only go in one way or the product will not work properly. Okay, let's look at this from another angle here. This shows all four wires from the light strip inserted to the four slots on the left side of the green plug. At this point, it is a good idea to make sure there are no frayed wires sticking out of the receptacles that could potentially touch the neighboring wires. Okay, at this point you're going to want to grab some spare wire. You'll need two wires. 16 to 18 gauge should be fine, and it does not matter what color the wire is. We have included some wire for you in the box, and it should be plenty to reach all the normal spots of the vehicle that you'd want to mount this box. At this point, if you did purchase the 12-volt plug, which also known as the cigarette lighter adapter, place the positive wire, which is the one that's printed on, into the positive slot and the negative into the negative, and then you just plug in the 12-volt adapter into any little cigarette lighter plug outlet. For those of us that are hard wiring, take one of the loose wires, attach it into the positive terminal here on the power side, and then run it to the wire in your vehicle that is noted in the instructions. You can use the red tap clamp that we provide or any other type of wiring connector to make that connection. You will want to make sure that it is a good solid connection though, because 90% of the time when the product doesn't work after you've installed it, it is because that connection was not made properly. So now you'll want to take the other loose wire and connect it to this negative terminal on the power side here, and then ground it to your vehicle. The grounding location should be specified by us in the instructions that came in the box, and it's important that you strip off a considerable amount of the wire and wrap it around the bolt or whatever it is that we're grounding to so that it gets a very solid connection. Okay, before testing the lighting, you will want to make sure there is a battery in the remote control. We're using a 23 amp 12 volt alkaline battery. Anything The same size should work though. Next, you're going to want to make sure that it's dark outside or you're in a heavily shaded area like a parking garage. You will not see the illumination in direct sunlight. Okay, go ahead and turn on the power source, whether it be your engine or the headlights, running lights. Once you do initiate that power, you'll see the indicator light come on in the box here. At first, when you send power to the box, it's not going to be in any particular mode, so it should be blinking and fading and stuff like that. Grab the remote control and press the program button, and that will start cycling through the different programs that it has. There's also a power indicator light on the remote, so if this is not coming on as you're pressing the buttons, then that may be a sign that the battery's not installed or it is low. Okay, so on the remote control, here's what we're going to see as we're pressing the program button. The first 7 cycles are static colors. First color is red, second is green, then yellow, blue, purple, cyan, and white. When you're in a static mode, you should be able to press B and C to adjust the intensity of the illumination. So if you're on static red, where it stays on red, you should be able to press C to dim the product and B to adjust the intensity upwards. Okay, next, if you continue to push the program button, you'll go to a 3-color step change and a 7-color step change, then followed by a 3-color fade change and a 7-color fade change. If you're in the step change mode or color fade change mode, you can press B and C to control the speed of which the colors will step or fade to the next color. Okay, so after the 3 and 7 step change, followed by the 3 and 7 color fade change, we have the 12th program, which is automatic change. And this is a show mode where it will randomly select some color patterns and fades and stuff like that. Now, we definitely recommend using these last modes if you are at a car show or just want to show off the product and not while you're driving. If you've finished hooking up the product and lighting is not working for you, check the silver box. Make sure the power indicator light is on. If it is not on, then it is not getting power to the box. It's that simple. So make sure that the power source that you hooked it up to is actually on. If it's a 12-volt plug that you have plugged in, you may need to turn the engine on to activate that if it's not a constant source. If it is hooked up to your headlights, running lights, or tail lights, then you may need to turn those on in order to send power to the box. Be sure you're in a shaded area when you're checking it, not in direct sunlight, because you will see it very little in direct sunlight. Make sure you have the 2 wires coming from the power going to the appropriate places, the positive going to the power source and the negative going to the ground, and that you have not reversed those accidentally. You'll also want to check the remote to make sure as you're pressing the button the power indicator light is coming on. If it is not, you'll want to change the battery or make sure there is one in there. If you are not getting a power indicator light on the silver box, then you're going to want to check the power connection and the ground connection. Normally it's the power connection. If you're hardwiring and using our red tap clamps, you may need to pry the clamp open and re-tap it. Make sure that the wire is not backing out as you're closing the pliers, because if the tooth does not hit that wire properly, it will not make a good connection. It's happened to me hundreds of times over the last decade, so don't feel bad and don't give up on it. It just needs a solid connection to send power to the box. So you're going to take the side coming from the silver box, the loose wire and put it into the side with a stop in it and push it all the way through. Then you're going to slide the other wire from the harness into the side of it. So here's another view here. Stick the wire coming from the silver box into the end with a stop. Push it all the way through under the tooth until it stops, and make sure that it doesn't back out as you're clamping it down. Here's the wire from the harness. Insert the wire from the harness into the side of the clamp. And once it's inserted all the way into the side of it, then you can clamp the tooth down onto both of the wires simultaneously. If this is not done exactly like this, it will not make a connection. Here's an example here. The loose wire, push it all the way till it stops, then slide it over the power wire that's in the harness. And that power wire is specified in the instructions for you in the box. Make sure it clips in there good, and make sure that that wire doesn't back out, the loose wire. Only then will you clamp it down. If you've redone the clamp and you still can't get power to the box, redo the ground. Make sure there's enough meat under the bolt when you're tightening down the bolt to make a very good connection. Then you're going to want to probably rewind this video and make sure you got all the wires in the appropriate slots if the ground doesn't work. Because if you do end up putting the black wire from the LED into the B slot instead of V, it's not going to work. So review the wiring at the beginning of the video if none of that works. And if you still can't get the power to come on, get a 9-volt battery and get the light strip wires, take it out of the box and touch the black wire from the LED strip to the positive terminal on the 9-volt battery. Then take any of the red, green, or blue and touch it to the negative, and that should make the lighting appear, any of those corresponding colors. And if you can't get the light strip to work apart from the box with the 9-volt battery, then give us a call. We will stand behind the product 100%. Thank you for watching and enjoy your product.